In a world driven by rapid change and fierce competition, the pursuit of financial independence and lasting wealth has become a universal ambition. However, to become financially independent, it is crucial to embrace the concept of multiple income streams. By diversifying our sources of income, we not only safeguard ourselves against economic uncertainties, but also unlock the potential for exponential wealth creation. So in this video, I will explore 7 different streams of income, discuss the principles and strategies behind each income stream, and highlight the advantages and disadvantages. Okay, as I said, if your goal is to build wealth, developing multiple streams of income is absolutely critical. One big advantage of having multiple streams of income is that it adds a level of diversification and thus financial stability to your overall financial life, and thus allows individuals to break free from the constraints of just a singular paycheck. If you manage to access some of the 7 income streams that I will present in this video, I think you've created a solid foundation for your wealth building journey, and I have no doubt that you will do very well in life, at least financially. So let me know in the comments down below how many of these income streams you already have access to and which ones you plan to start working on in the near term. And with that being said, let's jump right into the first income stream. The first one may be the most trivial one. It's the income from your regular employment if you are employed. For most people, a stable job or career with a high salary or income potential is going to be the most significant and conventional income stream. It's basically the compensation that you receive in return for the time and effort that you provide to your employer. According to the author Tom Corley, who conducted interviews with thousands of US millionaires, a significant number of millionaires in the United States actually achieved their wealth by simply earning a paycheck and demonstrating wise spending habits. Corley categorizes millionaires into 3 groups. The first one comprises individuals who attained exceptional success, such as professional athletes, accomplished actors, or musicians. Then there is my favorite group, the so-called saver investors. Regardless of their occupation and income level, these individuals amassed wealth by diligently saving, by investing, and by growing their financial resources over time. And what I will say here is that disciplined saving is a key pillar when you want to become rich, because if you keep increasing your spending and keep upgrading your lifestyle as your income rises, you will never be able to build true wealth. This phenomenon, if you never heard of it, is called lifestyle inflation. And lastly, there's another group, the so-called company climbers. These individuals dedicate their focus on advancing their careers within corporations and aspire to reach the high-paying executive positions by step climbing the corporate ladder. Now, your main income from your employment serves as a great starting point and should be considered the foundation of your wealth building journey. I would also recommend that you start thinking about ways of acquiring new skills or advancing your career to increase your earning potential in your main job, even though that earnings potential may be constrained by factors such as time, the situation your company is in right now, or the industry it operates in. All right, the next source of income is much more passive in nature: dividend income. This source of income refers to the portion of profits that a publicly traded company distributes to its shareholders as return on their investment in the company's stock. Dividends are typically paid out regularly, often on a quarterly basis, though sometimes they are also paid annually or semi-annually. The amount of dividend income that an investor receives is determined by the number of shares that they own in the company and the dividend paid out per share that is declared by the company. Now, it's important to note that dividend income, just like your regular income, is taxed. How dividends are treated from a tax perspective, however, depends on your jurisdiction and the specific tax laws that are in place. For many investors, dividend income is a desirable source of income, as dividend-paying stocks can be a source of irregular cash flow from your investments. For that reason, some investors only invest in dividend-paying stocks. But just to be clear, I think artificially reducing your investable universe like this and only investing in companies with high dividend yields, I think that's a terrible idea, which I actually explained in another video. Also, please note that a dividend paid by a company is not guaranteed, as a company can reduce or eliminate a dividend at any time, and they most certainly will if the company is developing unfavorably. Okay, there's actually another source of income from stocks that I prefer. It's actually my favorite source of income of all of the income sources that I will talk about in this video, and it's called capital gains. Generally speaking, capital gains refer to the profit earned when you sell an investment at a higher price than your initial purchase cost. What you have to understand is that if a company earns a profit, it may not choose to allocate a portion of those earnings to shareholders in the form of dividends. And instead, management may do something else with the money. It can, for example, buy back its own stock if the management team thinks the stock is undervalued and attractively valued, thereby reducing the total number of shares outstanding and increasing the stake of existing shareholders. This in turn increases the profits on a per share basis, which in theory should lead to higher stock prices and then in turn capital gains. Management may also decide to retain profits to reinvest in growth prospects, to innovate and to expand the business and thereby increase earnings, which ultimately should also drive the stock price higher. In contrast to dividends, capital gains are characterized by their volatile nature, as your profit will depend on the fluctuations of the underlying stock price. And as a result, especially during market downturns, the income stream associated with dividends paid by dividend stocks is likely more stable than the price of your overall stock portfolio. But income gained from capital gains also gives you the flexibility to choose when to realize gains or losses, and moreover, both buybacks and internal reinvestments by the business are also much more attractive from a tax perspective. Again, if you want to develop a better understanding of the advantages of these two forms of capital allocation, I recommend you watch the video that I released on this topic. Now, similar to dividends, when you sell a stock and realize a capital gain, it becomes a taxable event. It becomes subject to so-called capital gains tax. And again, depending on where you live and how long you held the investment, the tax rate may vary. Usually long-term gains are taxed lower than short-term gains. One big advantage of owning stocks and income generated via dividends or capital gains is that it demands relatively minimal effort. Of course, you need to research stocks before you invest in them, and then you need to continuously track how the business is developing. But compared to the work that the management team at the company has to put in, it's much less work, and actually investors are often best off if they are just doing nothing. Speaking of stocks, I'm currently looking for test clients for a value investing mentoring program, in which you will learn everything from basic personal finance concepts to more advanced topics like how to read and work with financial statements, competitive advantage analysis, assessing management quality and integrity, learning how to value stocks, and much more. A few people have already reached out to me. If you want to join this group to learn more about the stock market and building wealth, send me a DM either on Twitter or Instagram, or send me an email to the email address that I've put in the description box down below. Okay, the fourth income source that I want to mention in this video is income generated from interest. Interest can come from various sources, with the two primary ones being interest-bearing deposit accounts, such as savings accounts or money market accounts, and loans provided to individuals, like peer-to-peer lending, or companies in the form of bonds, which usually yield higher interest rates compared to the traditional savings accounts. And arguably, generating income via interest requires even less effort than investing in stocks. You have a lower level of risk, and you usually don't have to deal with volatility, even if you invest in bonds, as long as you hold your bond until maturity. However, the returns are usually much lower, and you simply receive a small return over time, even though the return that you can get from both short and long-term US Treasury bonds, for example, has more recently improved considerably. However, if your goal is to actually build significant wealth, personally, I believe interest-yielding instruments like bonds are not the way to go, as this graph here from the book Stocks for the Long Run shows. Okay, as you may notice, we'll start to move through the various income options a little quicker here. The fifth one is royalties. This source of income may be particularly attractive for those who possess some kind of creative talents or intellectual property, such as writing, music, or patents, which enable you to earn passive income through book sales, music streaming, or licensing agreements. To provide one real-life example here, a friend of mine is an audiobook narrator. she produces high quality audiobooks and then she negotiates a royalty agreement with the right holder or author. The audiobooks are then distributed on popular platforms like Audible, Amazon, or iTunes, and she then receives regular royalty payments based on the agreed upon percentage. If I remember correctly, royalty rates range from 20 to 40% in this space. And of course, she can also continue producing new audiobooks and thereby expand her catalog and increase this passive income source potential. Okay, the sixth form of income is income earned by owning and renting out property to individuals or companies. Rental income can come from both residential and commercial properties, each with its own set of regulations and considerations. And just like interest, dividends, or royalty payments, rental income offers a fairly stable and consistent income stream, typically received on a monthly basis, which can then be used to make mortgage payments or to cover expenses related to the property. Moreover, rental income can provide tax advantages, since rental expenses, including mortgage interest, property taxes, and maintenance costs, are in most jurisdictions deductible from the rental income. On the other hand, there are some drawbacks to rental income too. Of all of the mentioned income sources so far, maybe besides your main income, this one probably requires the most time, effort, and financial commitment. But of course, if you bring the willingness to manage rental properties and of course also the tenant relationships, you might want to become educated in this field. And then finally, the most lucrative source of income, maybe the least passive one. I'll call this one business income. If you are employed, this may be a side hustle that you are starting, or if you are self-employed, this may already be your main source of income. I'd say the main advantage of this source of income is that depending on the niche, there may be a lot of upside, and arguably much more upside than in your regular corporate job. And it can thus be regarded as an important and powerful tool in your wealth building toolkit. What I personally find particularly attractive about this last income source is the flexibility that comes with it. You have direct control over your schedule and the ability to make decisions that directly impact your own earnings power, which may be a great source of intrinsic motivation for many people. However, being a business owner also has some major inherent risks, especially early on when you're just running a one-man or one-woman business. And of course, running a business in general requires significant investments of time, effort, and resources, which may not be suitable for every type of personality. Let me know which of these income sources you find most attractive. And just to be clear, I don't think you need all 7 income sources to become financially independent. You only need to find those suitable to your personality and goals. As I revealed, I have most certainly not access to all 7 income streams, and I'm personally ultra focused on stocks. Okay, lastly, make sure to subscribe to my channel, leave a like, and watch some of my other videos. Take care.